he, ha 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 ha, he ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, in all my languages.
Who is going to believe that's a poem? Dear Amy, here is a poem I've been working on called To Find the Broken Kite. To find the broken kite. I was lost here in this place where the ocean meets the sky. There is no falling sand, only the never-ending trickle of emptiness, the color of spiritual poverty. I had been taught to fly the mantle of my matricate, and the way I sailed the kite of my childhood. Across the pale sky, a vivid red blankets the heavens. In this way, I am more than I am. I fell from grace in the way a lesser man succumbs to lust. A fair face drops a small piece of fruit. Immediately, two greedy hands grab for it. A larger piece is dropped, a little farther on, until the pit of damnation is reached. A looking glass was held up before my face. I saw myself naked and unbound, like a broken kite. So I hope to be found there, in the bleeding of light that guides a singing prayer from the mouth of a child to the ear of God, nestled at the breast of my mother and the mother of my mother, in the arms of my sisters of blood and bone and water, tied to the land of my bed by the cords of the womb. From Abena.
Beautiful. Hello, dearest A. Sending you good thoughts from across the ocean. It is rough and muddy how all new rivers are. This poem is the penultimate poem in the book that I'm writing. It's called New Moon in Cancer. Let us dream again, or for the very first time, as if the winds wanted it so and were on our side, as if today was now and we were able. Hear the clicking song of finches. Hold your feathered self in your own peace of mind. Make a wish for something true that matters. Begin right here, right now, with your own two lips, breath, hands, wanting and knowing how to be.
Dear Amy, how are you? Nea Fogbon. What to say? Today a phrase came to me during my meditation, French dweller. And I remember now that at that time Adele's song was playing, Daydreamer. Daydreamer. Something, something, some. Soaking up the sun. Yeah.
I love this title.
So French dweller. French dweller. The universe has called me by yet another name I see. Through the slowly healing calluses of my eyes, tentacles of light trail through, stirring up the heavens. And I taste the saliva of God in the rice porridge I make for breakfast. But I do not eat the food I serve each morning. I feed on the ambrosia that would dribble down chins and napkins at the dining table. Though my body fasts, I find nourishment in the soup that bubbles over from the skinship of flesh and blood and bone, and the je ne sais quoi qui fait des gens qui sont. French dweller, she calls me again, and her voice is a spidery crawl across my skin. I do not detest this. I distill from her quiet whispers a mental image of her corporeal form. What would serene abandon look like? Would she, like me, wear her wealth about her hips in globes of baked glass and clay? Would she wear her innate power on her chest in microcosms of colorful worlds strung on threads of lightning? Would she, like me, carry rebellion at the small of her back in the shape of a fajato? I want to know, when she builds her nest in my soul and calls me names that caress the planet cradled at my pelvis, does she look like me? Is she the soulish manifestation of the one I long for? Is she the existence that lightly grazes the tips of my hungry fingers and wraps my body in intricate spiritual entanglements? French dweller, I hear her again from the wormhole I am lost. This is the beauty of communion. I can poetry to her silently from space, and she will hear and affirm my existence, because silence is the language of God. Wherefore shall I never fall away into oblivion? I am the French dweller.
Hello, dear A. I hope you are taking excellent care of your health and well-being. I've been unable to eat because my jaw is sore from grinding my teeth. I read the dissent, Roe v. Wade, ruling 3 times. It's disturbing. Why does stupidity continue to triumph? As a result of this ruling, more women will die. Single moms do not have the support they deserve to raise their littles into adulthood. I know this because I lived it, and I don't want this to happen to other people. This was what I wrote today by changing words inside the legal dissent to match my emotion. Supreme Court of the United States, a party of extremists, has taken hold of Spaceship Supreme Court and are pointing it backward in time 154 years where we were not considered persons. The government should not determine what a woman's future will be. See, bullshit. 505 U.S. at 853, Thomas, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, Barrett versus God and 150 million people. We cite the concept of autonomous personhood, respect a woman as an autonomous being, and grant her full equality over this most personal and most consequential of all life decisions.
The mashup.
Yeah, this we made together. It's all of our words mixed.
And it still upsets me deeply.
Yes.
So the anniversary of the murder of Cecilia Cranton Addo, Justice Cecilia Cranton Addo, arrived at around the same time the U.S. Supreme Court overturned women's right to own their own reproductive choices in Roe and Wade. We were both deeply distraught and began writing mashup poems together.
After we read the court decision.
Yes, and then taking notes from Cecilia Cranton Addo's judgments.
Yeah. Habeas corpus, ode to a woman's life, a woman's body. Ode to a woman's body, a woman's life. 1. In the beginning, the ancestors of the world cradled civilization until the myth called men calculated power from parasitism. Control a woman's body and you control the course of a woman's life. History forced women into custody, swearing with guns, clothing power in legalities. Dissent and you are dragged to the shooting range, away from life and family without comfort or protection. We spit our words against the sky, speaking to the earth, naked mother of us all.
In a revolution, a lot of things happen. And nobody questions the makers of such coup d'etats. How permanent a people displaced. How Christian a temple desecrated. How bourgeois a cuckoo in a magpie's nest. They clothe their actions with the responsibility of legality. So I will have to look at those things clothed with legality and test their validity. How can it be envisaged that the Constitution came to remove the one bastion women have for the protection of their liberty?
But I am a person. I am a whole person. Persons hold their bodies inside their skin.
Persons summon against tyranny, speak against silence, move against sorrow, rebel against anarchy.
Habeas corpus. We owe to a woman's body a woman's life. There's no justification for the detention of a woman's body, a woman's life. This is as close as we can get to the violation of humanity.
When we are dragged to the shooting range, we speak truth to power. When we are reduced to property, we speak truth to power. When we are thrown into forced custody,
We
speak truth to power. We speak against this terrible perfection of political power, this beautiful caricature of free will.
She is therefore entitled to immediate discharge.
And she must be released and set free forthwith.
Dear A, please receive my good wishes. Thank you for writing and reading with me. Here is the Compost Poem for today. It began, 2 feet walk in multiple worlds. The earth holds together in galactic expansiveness. Then in comes the heroine of the story, the number 2 soft lead pencil. My pencil walks quietly. I carry it with me wherever I go. It is sharp, a baton that fits in my hand. While the right hand writes, the left starfishes the page. Together, we replace empty space with story.
Amy dearest, I'm chuckling and reading. This season, I've encountered many references to sheep. I felt the universe was trying to send me a message. And I found myself countering in my thoughts. Shall I be a goat then? This season, I'm questioning the ways in which I have ceded control over my life and my choices to elements in my environment. Thank you for this. I have been caught in the grips of insecurity due to the politics of the time. I ask myself, how long can I sustain this job? Will the government shut down my company? Because they have a long history of doing so. I think of all the plans I could execute with the heavy taxes that are taken from my salary. I think of the shooting fuel prices and the way the atmosphere is heavy with people's anger and despair. And I see how we are all too tired to fight again because we might end up dead the next day or imprisoned. It is from this place that this poem is from. Every day is a rainy night. Fallen clouds and broken bodies form a bloody mile of tragedy towards Independence Square. In the chest of this country, justice flows with power, not unlike flood entering in a slurry, not unlike democracy carrying violence. Here, all is a silent, watery grave. Life forms often bob and sink in a gargle, and every hole is evidence that the obstruction is displaced. So, in our becoming, we are banshees, stricken vagabonds, rogue spirits, vengeful demons. Every rainy night is a necessary cattle wall.
Beautiful. Dear A, your note and poem are hydrating water, nourishment. Thank you. Please take care of the treasure of yourself with confidence and kindness. Up. I walk to the end of the planet, past the dogs chasing swallows and gulls. Fly up, swallow, fly up, higher, not faster, if you don't want to be eaten. Dogs run on 4 legs, clankety-clank, leashes levitating behind them. The sparrows' triangular wings whirl around the fur beasts. Fly up, swallow, fly up, if you don't wish to be eaten. At the end of the land, I pause to speak to my ori. An osprey rests, breathing ionized air. Feather-worn and wing-beaten, perched on the tip of a night post, it greets me with sound. Eep, eep, eep. Who are you to arrive inside the center of my prayer and sing? Just when you imagine yourself alone, at the edge comes the call. Think up, Shimson. Think up. Think airborne.
Sweet. Dear Amy, I feel there is a slight subtle shifting in the earth. There is something changing slowly because the world defines revolution in a certain kind of way they cannot sense it. In a revolution, there is a lot of violence and plunder. There is struggle and roughness. There is an extra chill in the air. The sea has been stormy. People walk about with a hazy redness in their eyes. You can see that we are all fighting something in some way. And I have refused to go down without a fight. I cannot be meek and accepting. I want to fight an angel and break a hip like Jacob or Israel. So, rogue spirits. Whitewashed walls and bosom floating shelves. Dog-eared papers and balm fragrant phantasms. A woman's heart hides an anthology of trauma in hardcover. Rogue spirits tumble out of her pages in misshapen words. Sonorous voices fall onto bodies, sink into skins and invade space. Fallen beings bury their shapes in stone, in ancient curses. Incantations travel into time, hex invaders, and engineer madness. Much like the tombs that harbored those demon-possessed, who, having been cast out, bewitched the head into a watery grave.
My dear A, I'm sending you a bundle of love and dreaming. Yesterday, my brain felt like bubble wrap, and I did not write. I woke at 2 a.m. and jotted down what my sleeping mind said. It went like this. Eyes closed, epiphany at 2 a.m. I've leaned so far away from my old life that even my dreams ache for a new kind of slumber. I will no longer chew on gravel, circling the lagoon with my eyes covered. Step out, and a platform appears. The world bent down to cradle me. I could have a life, and it could be a poem.
Dearest Amy, this week I've been thinking of what my feminism means and why I fight the things I do. And I remember this particular week, Kweku Tre asked me to write a poem about on Ama Ata Edu's No Sweetness Here. And that's where this poem is from. I call it The Road That Leads Home. No matter where you go, remember the road that will lead you home. There is no sweetness here, only a salty tang heavy in the air. This morning from a trusky window, I watched Sobolo dribble south down a man's chin, a mesmerizing meander, in and out the hollow at the base of his neck, carrying in its descent a clawing sweetness. I myself am horizon bound, following the blood-speckled track trodden by sojourners before me. My feet fall on their shoulders like waves hit the shore, shifting the sands of history, each sweeping movement.
I love that. I myself am horizon bound. There's so many quotes of yours I would like to make into t-shirts. Dear A, you inspire joy and vitality in my still recovering personhood. I really do not like being ill. And this poem was about my son visiting Nigeria for the first time. In the worlds I'm imagining, this is a little bit, in the worlds I'm imagining, the plural for single mother is a forecast. A group of Jews is a circumference. A community of Ifa practitioners is a chime. Loop. I face my son in the crisp morning air, his bag packed, checked in for flight, but empty-handed of one essential source. I would like one of your prayers, he says, a prayer to travel with. A prayer for the journey, like the ones I've always stitched to his existence. My grown son reminds me that mothers publish upon us with whisperations. I am one of those mama writers asked to summon phrases to fortify a family. My arms speak first, shooting upward before the mouth can open. His branches quickly echo mine. Our goalpost arms levitate. Then my body opens its library doors to rummage through the stacks, but feels only dance, bounce, joy. This is a great day, I say, joyful return. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, lifting on my toes. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, he responds. A new page is turning, a new moment has arrived. Torn from the land, forced across an ocean in horror, ancestors survive the unthinkable. He sustains sonic archives within. My son carries thread to circle back an ancestral stitch. Rhythm courses through his drummer's pulse and journeys back across the sea by choice. May the wondrous oneness of survival and effervescent dreaming accompany him across the Atlantic to hold his freedom-seeking soul.
Dear Amy, you asked me to explore body sovereignty. And I remember during our conversation that week, I explained that I cannot think of sovereignty apart from thinking of my motherland, Wida, in Benin. So here goes. Nothing more wondrous than Wida on a rainy night, bereft of mortals and their remains. A soft white, like the underbelly of a fish, hangs in the air. The sky drapes her shawl around this holy place. In the foggy rustle, heaven unlooses itself into the neighboring ocean. At the border upon the shore, the wind whispers hymns that weave through the palms. Waves of water twist around columns of sandstone to a celestial silhouette above the horizon. When the moon climbs to its summit, a majesty sits in state, decked in flowing satin robes, with such glorious countenance there is no question about her womanness. When I was 16 years old, I joined a group of young Methodists on an evangelical expedition into the back of beyond. As I remember it now, we placed upon ourselves the yoke of a 7-day prayer and fasting to allow the Holy Spirit to reveal our true condition. I remember the nights spent, back curved forwards and arms wrapped around bent knees. Hunger held me captive. When my body had become soft enough to fall off my skeleton, the crust broke away from my eyes, giving way to maelstroms of ivory-hued emptiness, a coral-tinted expanse, a grown woman. And now I know I have softness in my contours and color in my bones. I have moved in all the ways wild waves dance to angelic melody. I have shed my skin to beat a drum and dug gullies in my hair to clasp my crown. There is something in me that lives in Wida. The rest of the memory is yellowed at the edges. I just remember enough to know a woman is the growth after the molt.
Dear A, I am nostalgic for your poem Da Blawa, having not heard it for a year since we first met. I wrote heard even though I'm actually reading it. I read your voice as my eyes move along the lines. I remember your performance at Moisa and the fire your poem brought into the space. You wrote about body sovereignty. My awareness of this topic has been influenced by illness. I felt COVID in my body again at the chemical level. COVID came in like a colonizing force in search of territory, an occupation demanding authority over my terrain. I slept outside for 14 days so as not to make my family sick, and now that I am well, I find it difficult to go back in. My body prefers the great darkness, the cooler wind, the openness and exposure to moonlight. In this context, body sovereignty also makes me think of disease. We mitigate everything through these temporary vessels, corpo, body. Where I live, people will do almost anything to conceal the aging process. I made a decision not to dye my hair and to adjust to the natural changes that are occurring in my physical form. I wonder, how aging is seen across the ocean where you are. Where can a woman grow old with dignity? After our conversation on body sovereignty, I automatically found myself turning to boundaries, into a concept, an idea, a happy place. Every day I know I would die if I can't do this, to create a world that superimposes on this morbid reality. I've heard from the universe to step out of this happy place of mine, and I am reading your section.
Dear Amy, since you are nostalgic for my poem, Dabla, I'll read it to you.
Please, please.
But before that,
I want to tell you about applying for a visa.
do.
Okay, so when I was applying to a visa to come visit, you have to choose a profession. And on the embassy website, there's an extremely long list of jobs. And this poem is just taken from that list. List of possible professions in a new economy. Or can I be a steel bender actuarist? For the welder, woodworkers, writer, asbestos removers, fishmonger, fitness detectives, pipe fitter, pilots, dancers, and other gardeners. Flight, writer, other.
Please specify. So I'll read you Dablawa.
Fantastic.
This is really an old poem, eh?
It's not old. It's only from Moisa last year.
I mean, I see Audrey here, so I know that it's an old poem. Haven't seen her in ages. Okay. Dablawa. My skin is hungry. She needs me the way the heart needs blood. My body is broken. She needs the healing only I can give. The creeping Jesus is say I'm not worthy. Yedo, mejo menomi wuhua. Mummies in foreign fabrics, civilized cadavers encased in plastic strings, polished skeletons in whited sepulchres. They teach me to hate my skin, she's hungry. They teach me to hate my body, she's broken. They teach me to wear another cloth, my wrapper lies abandoned. They teach me to wear rosaries, and my beads lie lifeless. You cannot appreciate my skin if you have never seen a minnow. Countless colored cotton threads wrapped around a woman's body reminds me of pythons gliding gracefully through water. Crisp salt air rustling the palms on a moonlit night. You cannot kiss these clay layers if your hands have never caressed fabric in Mokola. Knitted clouds blanket the dark blue sky, the beach sand falls through your fingers. You cannot appreciate my being if you have never seen powdered glass beads on the waist of a woman. Timeless collections of colored crystals draped around sun-kissed flesh. You cannot hold me the way I want to be held if your hands have never molded beads in Kroboland. Morning dew brushes against the earth's hungry lips. Water drops leisurely meander down the hills. The air is laden with the scent of love. Yeah. Ablawa, when you for sanuswe mauto dazotonwe. Yeah. The fire, the incense. Yeah. Ablawa, when you nubo. Yeah. Heaven's voice, the music, the shrine. My voodoo is in the brown of my skin. It is the woman hidden within my being. Voodoo tonwelo, ayi tonwe muete. My skin is free. She is the ripple when the moon dances with the ocean. My body is home, where the wind meets the sea.
Keep us safe. Shh. Gather your invisible threads of self. Shoulders weave a hammock to rock a body. Rest. No more waiting. Stacking books back to back and spine to spine. Empty. Leave the translucent snakeskin of longing writhing behind. Knife. distance from the carcass, the carved out pit of peel, the rind, judgment. Place it face down in the dirt so expectations will lose their light. Embers. Enter the smoky hut, its earthen floor, charred scent of flint. Speech. Utter forgiveness. Never being what they wanted, being instead oneself. Move. Inside a tapestry of unthinkable personhood, our me anomalies. Fire, drop the weight, strike a match to become incendiary.
Dear Amy, language is the cluster of throbbing beats at my waist, pulsating up, vibrating down. There is speech, there is gabble, word, symbol, sign, babble. I'll read to you a babbling language. I speak in a fever dream. Malambe, Karambe, Matahat, Fatabe. Do you speak English? Hutimuti Kawahamet. Can you understand Chi? Mams, Kukula, Muwewe. Français. Kele, Kele, Mama, Kuma. Fongbi. Ka muku et. Ewe gan Hausa. American. I do not comprehend.
Did you hear the birds singing, the frogs? Mm-hmm. Dear A, I celebrate the freedom, music, and fire in your words. I've been thinking about joy and play as a way to live through challenges that can be heartbreaking. This is not a new debate. It's discussed in the Torah. I imagine that poets of all times, societies, and places have confronted this. In the Jewish tradition, today's reading was furious about how despair can distract us from study, from cultivating knowledge. Thinking for ourselves can be a way through that opens gates to el buen vivir, or the good life, so important in our pluriverse. Letters of thought, letters of drought. I will study kindness, how its penetrating light flows through water. The breath within each mouth reveals a world. Before sunlight, there is a sun absorbed by its own source. At last, we will be able to stand side by side on the same side of the sea at Pidja. Thank you, dear poet, for this nourishing correspondence.
Dear Amy, now that we found love, what are we gonna do with it? Now that we found love, what are we gonna do with it? I will bless my beloved. Bless my beloved. Let her eyes be warmed and filled with light. Let her be the sun young people chase. Let her be the taste of love, heaven on the tongue of a condemned man. Let her veil remain undefiled when strange men lay wagers on her nakedness. Let her voice bring down fire in the land of her captivity, high brassy notes of apocalyptic fury. Let the wind kiss her every nook and cranny when she sails the seven seas. Let her be the Titan the Titanic could never be. Let her be tranquility for the wandering spirit and the haven for the rebellious heart. Let her be the capital of revolution, a step ahead of human ingenuity. Oh, bless her. Bless my beloved. Amy, I'm looking forward to the day we finally meet. To the day when it would come full circle. Welcome to Accra, Amy.
I don't know how you guys spent the pandemic, but that's one of the things that we did.
Oh yeah, and would like to acknowledge the one who did our cover art for us, IB. I'm giving you a shout out over here. So thank you so much for all the love you put into this. We appreciate it.
It's a beautiful design.
Thank you for your attention.